Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk, the Style Crypt. I am your host, Asia the Bird. To have a very special guest with us today, she is the owner of Art NYC. Please welcome Shaquita Garcia. Hello, Shaquita, and welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Yes, absolutely, totally. I want to go ahead and get started by asking where you're originally from and tell us about your upbringing.
So I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I moved to New York City in 2010, so I've been here for about 14 years almost. Um, and yeah, I grew up on the east side of Cleveland. Went to public school. um, my grandfather was a tailor. My father is a stylist and a designer. So it's kind of like where I picked up on, all of my style, my personal style at least. And then designing is just something I always knew that I wanted to do since, I don't know, the beginning of time, probably four.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Now, what's like your school experience like as far as like college and things of that nature?
um, I mean, college was college. I didn't particularly care for it much, in my opinion, but also it was because of my circumstances. I was epileptic, so it was just really hard to
Mm,
study and remember things that I needed to remember. So I didn't particularly care for school as much, but I started out in a fashion program at Kent State University, and then
mm,
I ended up switching my major to costume design. So that's what I ended my degree in.
mm. So I want to get into as far as in terms of your earliest memories. So what has been your earliest memories concerning beauty and fashion?
Um, I will say there is a picture of me when I was about, I don't know, maybe four, and I was dressed in a full plaid Ralph Lauren suit, the matching tie. And I think like at that moment, that's when I fell in love with menswear, which is I don't know, it may seem a little bit surprising, but like if you take a look at my style, there's a certain level of like masculine swag to my style. I feel where, some days I'll, wear a full tulle gown, and then there's other days where I'm in, Carhartt overalls, like a construction
Mm,
worker. So I tend to gravitate towards like a menswear for women kind of vibe. So like even if I'm dressed in a really feminine like silhouette, I'm always going to add some type of like edgy, masculine aspect to it. So, whether it's a structured hat or a feminine skirt with a leather bustier, like it's always going to be some level of masculinity in there. So, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's really, really cool because I'm kind of the same way. I like menswear,
Hmm.
especially I like how men dress in suits and, the whole thing of hip hop culture,
Hmm.
and hip hop has played a major influence in fashion, with the bucket hats and the Timberland boots, the baggy jeans, the baggy jackets.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like with this, like the windbreaker, I was like, yo, this is really, really cool. So, a lot of women like to wear men's wears, especially like sneakers and stuff. Like I feel like men's sneakers have the most variation it is in women's sneakers.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely I could totally agree. The men's wear is very, very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go ahead and really talk about as far as role models. So who has been like your role models, like, or who would you look up to as role models in fashion?
Um, well, there's a few. First, hands down, my dad. Like I said, he's influenced a great deal of my personal style. Even I would have to say probably like my design style as well. But I've kind of like taken little tidbits that I got from him and kind of like made it my own. Especially now that I'm a mom and
Mhm.
I live, in a different city. So I've definitely kind of like taken, you know, little pieces of things that I learned from him throughout my childhood and like implemented that into my own personal style. So my dad's one, Grace Jones, always.
Mm,
I
yeah.
just feel like for her, her for me, her style is like very iconic, and she kind of has no limits, and it's very like very sexy. And again, I always give like a subtle sexy, so again, I've taken like certain elements of her like femininity and her sexiness, but
Right.
she's like still has like this masculine like vibe to her. So I feel
Mhm.
like I think like it's so dope to kind of like mesh both energies, and I feel like you just make magic with that. So yes, I've get gotten a lot of like her vibes. It's been very inspiring to me. And who else? June Ambrose, of course.
June Ambrose.
Mhm. Again, same thing. Like there's something very poetic about her style choices. Like it's always like a she never misses kind of thing, because
Right.
it's her own personal style. Like you can tell that that's June before you see June, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and I think like everybody kind of like aspires to have that level of identity where people know that it's you before they actually see you, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like, again, if you see someone from far down the block, you think about Anna Wintour, Karl Lagerfeld, June Ambrose, Grace Jones. These are all like images where before you even see their face, you know that that's them. So I feel like
Mhm.
in reality everybody has like if you really truly care about fashion and style, everyone has that kind of like aspiring goal to have that on their own brand image that way is where someone can recognize them before they even actually see their face. So yeah, I would say those are my top three.
Yeah, that's really, really cool because, I've learned style from my dad, fashion and style and putting clothes together, like,
Oh,
like with your dad, and the thing is that, like, I've learned from my dad is, like, when you buy clothes, sometimes at the clearance rack, there's some good pieces at the clearance rack,
yep. Mm-hmm.
thrifting, there's good pieces in, going to thrift stores, different, thrift stores and things of that nature, or independent boutiques. And the thing is that, like, I like how you mentioned people like Grace Jones, even with, like, Erica Badu,
Yeah.
like some of these, black figures, they have their own signature look, they have their own
Right.
signature style, and that's something that we can gravitate to. If you have a signature look, that's
Mm-hmm.
consistent, they'll say like, oh, that's you. That's like looking at a piece of artwork,
Right.
like if you look at Hugh Brantley,
Mm-hmm.
he has a certain style about like his artwork. When you see the yellow glasses or
Yeah.
certain things that he does stylistically, oh, that's Hugh Brantley.
Right.
Same thing with King Saladin. Same thing with the bear. So yeah, so when you have a signature style, like people can gravitate towards it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. I want to go ahead and get into as far as your fashion style. Like what I love about your style is very, very fun. I like how you play with color. I love the iconic, like cool hats that you wear. So I definitely want to get into as far as inspiration. So where do you draw inspiration as far as your looks?
Um, Everything that I wear is inspired by my lifestyle. Everything is out of necessity. So I fill my closet with pieces that truly do like contribute to my way of life. So I am a mom and I am a wife. I'm always on the go. So it's like really important every day that and
Mhm.
every day is a different day. Sometimes we're going to soccer practice and sometimes, we're just chilling and going on some random adventure. So it really just depends on the day. But like my personal style is always going to be maximalist. So most
Mhm.
of the pieces in my closet are always like statement pieces. I go against the grain. Everyone feels like you need to have statement pieces and then like basics to pair with the statement pieces. That's not me. It's going to be a statement top. It's going to be a statement bottom, statement hat, statement glasses. Everything is a statement. So, and I do that so that, on the days when I'm not feeling the best or the most like myself, depending, it could be PMS, it could be anything that, is
Mhm.
making me feel out of sorts. I throw on these like maximalist, like statement pieces, and instantly I feel better. I feel more inspired. I feel like I can still tackle the day, even though I'm really, really in a terrible mood. So
Mhm.
um so I, like I said, I describe my style as I'm a complete maximalist, and I love that. Lots of prints, patterns, textures, the whole thing. So I like to like think of my closet as like a little playground. I call it the lab because I get in there and I start playing and like, mixing all the
Right.
different things. So like
Mhm.
it just depends on what day it is, but it's always going to be a show.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I want to go ahead and talk about hats. So, one of the things I love is a good hat. I've been wearing
Mhm.
hats as of recently. I love fedoras, wide brim hats, bucket hats, as you can see, and beanies. So, what drew your love for hats, and where do you find to, have like unique hats? Like, where do you find unique hats?
So my love for hats came from working in the costume shop in back in college. And we worked on a lot of period pieces back then. So you know, uh, dresses from, the 20s, and even before that, the 1800s, were, bustles. And so I learned about all these different types of hat styles. And then I studied the history of costume, which really got me more invested into
Mhm.
all these different, vintage hats, and, the glamour of it all, So,
Right.
I started making hats. I took millinery and I started making hats back then. And then when I moved to New York and I started having fashion shows, like I used to make, I would make all these crazy hats. I say used to because I don't do shows anymore, but um,
Mhm.
I was making all these crazy hats like out of like weird materials, like it's actually hanging up in my apartment now, but one of the hats I did for one of my last shows was like a bamboo lampshade that I got from IKEA, and I hand painted
Mm.
it and created a print on top, and that was like for my finale look. So again, I just hats have always been in my DNA, been a love for them. Um, and then I kind of fell out once I was wearing a mohawk a few years ago,
Mhm.
and I could never fit the hats on top of my head. I would have to like braid it down and maybe put a wig on or whatever. And then 2021, I just woke up one day and was like, I'm shaving my head. And that catapulted me into this whole like vintage hat era where um,
Mhm.
I was just shopping on Poshmark, thrift stores, just buying all these hats that belong to people's grandmothers, like from, the 20s, the 30s, like, and I was bringing
Mhm.
that into my street style. So, and then just in December, I launched my hat brand. So it's a part of art, but it's another division. So I'm really excited about, just now like turning all of that history that I had into, me doing something that I love every day. So, yeah.
Mhm. I want to push forward and talk about your brand, Art NYC. So you sell hats, jackets, pants, and more. So tell us more about your brand.
Oh, so I actually started my brand back in 2014. It was then called A Bridge to London.
Mm.
So I was recently laid off of my corporate design job. Uh, I said recently. Back in 2014, I was laid off from my corporate design job, and I woke up one day and I called my dad and I was like, "Hey, I think I want to have a fashion show." And he was like, "All right, let's do it." So I sat here in my living room, cut out all my patterns, everything. I had my first show in Cleveland, Ohio in December 2014. And that's where my brand got started. At the time, I was only doing skirts. I was making 1950 circle skirts. And again, same thing, tons of prints, tons of patterns.
Mhm.
I did leather, fur. I was on the news recently where I made one back in 2014, and it was a faux leather checker print. And each
Mm.
square of the leather was cut out by hand and then sewn by hand. So
Mhm.
a very intricate couture like piece of artwork that I still have today, and it's literally one of the pieces that I love to wear. But yeah, so that was the start of my brand, and then I had to take a little bit of a break because things got slow and rent had to be paid. So I started doing
Mhm.
temp jobs, and I had a baby. So 7 years my brand was quiet. And then
Mhm.
in 2021, that's when I decided to revamp it under a new name, which is now called Art NYC. And I got rid of the skirts because I felt like it was taking too much of my time and I couldn't find the right manufacturing. So I ended up
Mhm.
doing like a drop ship option just to get me started, because I wanted to get all these prints in my head out of my head and onto garments. So yeah, I started doing that for a little bit, and then it was kind of like not really resonating with me as much. So I finally found a hat manufacturer who could handle what I was thinking in my head. And
Mhm.
the rest is history. So now I'm actually looking to revamp the garment portion as well. So
Mhm.
I'm currently working on that as we speak. So yeah.
What is your perspective in regards to the impact of Black culture and streetwear, but also how important it is to support Black-owned streetwear brands and small fashion boutiques?
Well, I think it's very important to support Black owned um, brands in general, not just streetwear brands, but
Mhm.
we are the ones who kind of like push these other brands forward, if that makes sense. I actually just
Right.
had an
Mhm.
in-depth conversation with my husband about this yesterday, because we were speaking about a brand that I was wearing, and I noticed that in the majority of their ads, you don't see us, and I'm like, and
Mhm.
oh no, honesty, on the streets, you see nothing but them, but they don't use us in their ads. So
Mhm.
for me, I feel like, why are we not? And I'm not to say that some people aren't, but I feel like some of us should be a lot bigger than we are, if that makes sense.
Right. Mhm.
Why are we not feeding the culture who pushes the culture forward? Because we are the blueprint. It's the
Yeah,
reality of it. Um,
absolutely.
there's really no other way to say it, because if we throw something on, that makes it cool. So,
Absolutely.
people can look at this from all different angles, but in my opinion, we should be right up there with the ones who are showing it, the big tents every season, but we're not. And some
Mhm.
of our own won't even, I can't tell you the amount of messages that I get from people, and it's so disheartening because it's from Black people who
Mhm.
say like, I always want to support, but this, it's always like a rebuttal to supporting us. But it's like, if we had more funding, if we had more support, so that we could not be one women shows like me, and have like, more people on our team, so that things are running a little bit more smoothly and logistically, you wouldn't have to
Mhm.
say that. So I just feel like we also are owed a little bit more grace, because we don't have the capacity to do what some of these larger brands are doing. So I just think it's really important that people support us in that way in general, and
Right.
not even just if you're spending money, but just giving us more grace, because we deserve it. We're literally
Absolutely.
working our fingers to the bone. We're doing the marketing, we doing, the packing and shipping, we're doing the customer service, we're doing everything ourselves because we don't have a choice. So
Mhm. I want to get into as far as Black designers. So there's such a growth of Black designers, coming up in the fashion industry. So what's your take on the growth of Black designers in the fashion industry? But also too, if you had a top four list of your favorite Black fashion designers, who would they be and why?
okay. So I think there has been a huge, like, increase in Black designers coming out and, showing their artwork, and it's just so inspiring because I love that for us, like, really
Yes.
truly. There are so many of us who, like, have these ideas in our heads, and we're like, oh well, I don't know if I should go for it, or I don't know if I should put it out there.
Mhm.
Just do it, because I
Yeah.
just feel like
Right.
there's a customer for everyone, and I just feel like, everybody can eat, everybody can win. Like, I
Yeah.
love that for us. So I think, like, it's just really important that everyone, you know bet on yourself. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, if you want to do it, you have the idea, do it, because at least you can say that you went out on a limb and you tried it. And who's I mean, what if it works? What if it works? That's my
Right.
thing. But also my favorites, so I actually shop from a lot of small brands.
Mhm.
So I would have to say, you said four?
Yes, top 4.
Top four. Okay, so first I'm gonna say Ashaka Gibbons. She's another, like, hat designer. She's based in Brooklyn. We met, uh, like, through hats, actually. So um, I would have to say Ashaka, and then there is another jewelry designer. Her name is Erin. I
Mm.
can only remember her Instagram handle, so it's Erin, but she makes, like, these really beautiful earrings out of clay. So
Mm.
I have quite a few of her pieces, but I'm normally wearing them and I'm not. Another, um, let me see, another. I would say Rodney. He's Essential. The name of his brand. He's another Black hat designer. And then I would
Mm.
also have to say Kirby, because I just love, like, his couture kind of vibes. Like, I feel like his last show was just, it was, like, breathtaking, like, from beginning to end. And like, I love everything that he puts out. So yeah.
You talking about Kirby John Raymond?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, his stuff was really, really cool. Also, like Sergio Hudson and Christopher John Rogers, their stuff
Mm,
is
mhm,
amazing.
mhm.
You know, same with Laquan Smith. Laquan Smith, his stuff is really, really cool. Very sexy, very edgy.
Yes.
Yes.
I do love Christopher John Rogers. I just wish that I can afford those pieces. I cannot. I'm like, because there are certain like, don't get me wrong, because the things are, I named, like, people who, I actually have in my closet, and then also, someone who inspires me. But
Right.
Christopher John Rogers, his pieces are very beautiful, but I just, I wish I could wear them.
Yeah, yeah, right, absolutely. Now, I want to get into as far as accessories. So, what are some accessories you can't live without in your closet?
um I would have to say earrings, I guess, but, some days I go earringless, like today. Um, but I do love a good earring, because the side view is nothing like turning your head and boom, that's it. And
Right.
then I have one necklace that says "Mama" on it, and that one, I'm just like, I can't live without it. It's always with me. I just feel like, people need to know. Because, I wear that hat, very proudly. So um that, and then I also have another necklace too. It's a heart, but it has, like, a rainbow. It has, like, rainbow
Mhm.
diamonds, and that one means a lot to me as well, because it's funny, because it's a question that is asked by beauty queens, like, what do you wish for the world? And I really do wish world peace. That's just my thing.
Right.
Like, I just want everyone to get along. I want everyone to be happy. Like,
Mhm.
I wish
Right.
that for everyone. So that's kind of like what the rainbow in the heart stands for me, world peace.
Mhm. Now, if you had to give 3 styling tips, what would they be?
First and foremost, it would be yourself. Um, because your style is your style. And I spoke earlier about, making sure that you are your own brand and people can
Mhm.
recognize who you are. If you're dressed like everyone else, nobody knows who you are. So make it you, be yourself, wear what you love.
Mhm.
Two, I would say, um, again, wear what you love. It's all about, for me, style is all about feeling. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, oh, well, make sure you have a blazer in your closet or anything like that. No, because
Right.
everybody don't like blazers. um,
Right. Mhm. Yeah.
Style is it comes from here. It comes from the heart. It comes from
Yeah.
inside. You have
Starts
to
with the heart.
dress the way that you feel about yourself. And
Mhm.
um, whatever that means to you, rock out that way. Who's to say? Who gonna check you, boo? Like, seriously, it's
Right.
true. I mean, I sometimes I leave out of my house and I have 3 hats stacked on my head. Who gonna check me about it? Nobody, because that's what I like to do. So
Right.
you should not care what anyone is gonna say to you, about your personal style. Your style is your style. So I don't even know if I have a third because it's still gonna be the same answer. Be yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely, definitely be yourself. Absolutely. Now, I want to get into the importance of mental health. So,
Mhm.
you're the creator of Modern Housewives Co., which is a nonprofit organization that is focused on promoting mental health and wellness for mothers. Not only are you a businesswoman, but you're also a mother. What has been the journey as far as juggling business and motherhood? And what is the mission behind Modern Housewives Co.?
The journey behind motherhood and business, you said?
Hmm.
Oh my God. It has been a journey. Because business, I mean, there are some people who don't like to say this. I've actually heard it, but business and motherhood kind of like go hand in hand in the sense that business is my other baby.
Hmm.
I treat my business as, I would treat my children with love and care and respect and
Hmm.
nurturing. So, again, taking the time to kind of like learn your business is almost kind of like learning yourself. Like, you have to know what it is that you're trying to put out into the world. What problem are you solving? And then take your time.
Right.
In my Someone recently asked me about my hats and how I felt about it. And this was like when it had first launched, and I was like, honestly, I didn't care if nobody bought it. Like, of course, you want to make money, but you have to love it that much that if somebody does not buy it, you're like, I'm still happy with what I put out, and I'm content in that. And then try to
Right.
like
Hmm.
evolve it, promote it, whatever you need to do to get people to see what you see, if that makes sense. And then if it's not working, then you nurture that and try to figure out what's going wrong. So again, it's almost the same as being, a mom. Like, you have to really take time with your children and listen to them. What are their needs? What are their wants? And really just not pushing it to it'll work itself out. No, no, no. You have to actually do the work. So
Right.
I just say,
Hmm.
like, it has been a journey. It has been painful. It has been hard.
Right.
But I would
Hmm.
not change any of it for anything. I love them both very much. And Modern Housewives Co. is really just about that. It is about speaking about motherhood and business in the most raw and most honest, unapologetic form. Um,
Hmm.
I had come across, oh, hold on. I think my computer is, wait, I might have to get my charger. I have 30 minutes left. Okay. And I think it's really important for moms to have a safe space to speak like that, because I had come
Right.
across some moms before that were like, "Oh, motherhood is so beautiful. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever done in my life, blah blah blah." And I'm like,
Right.
"Yo, are we doing the same job? Because I'm tired. On the inside, I'm disheveled. I don't feel the same. Like, I love my
Right.
children,
Mhm.
and I will do any and everything for them, but I'm exhausted. Where are the moms who
Mhm.
are saying that this is a complete shit show? Where are those moms? I need
Right.
them. So
Mhm.
that's what my nonprofit evolved from, just wanting to have a safe space to speak openly and honestly about how my business is going.
Right.
Sometimes
Mhm.
Instagram kind of gives you these vibes that you can start a business and you become a millionaire overnight. No,
Yeah.
like I needed the space for moms to come and say it was a tough week. I only sold one item last week. Like, cuz that happens to all of us. Literally all of us. Like,
Right.
sales are slow sometimes, sales are high sometimes, but you have to like have that community and that safe space to say, but it's going to pick up, sis. It's not going to be this way forever.
Mhm.
And it's just a roller coaster ride. And it's the same thing with motherhood. Sometimes things are really really good, and then sometimes
Right.
everybody's sick,
Mhm.
everybody's throwing up everywhere, like that's the vibe in this house
Mhm.
sometimes, and you need to have a safe space for people to be like, you're not alone, I just went through that yesterday. Like,
Mhm.
it's the reality. It's just all about the realness and honest and openness. So yeah, I
Mhm.
just felt like it was very important, um, for moms, and especially Black moms, to have, because I don't like being in the company of people who are not seeing things or experiencing things the way that you are. It can make you feel like lonely and like shut out,
Right.
or like maybe there's something wrong with me. And for
Mhm.
I was going through postpartum depression when I experienced this, and these moms saying like, "Oh, motherhood is so beautiful," but meanwhile I'm crying every day, and I can't stop
Mhm.
crying. Um,
Mhm.
so that's what I feel like we all need the support on so many different levels, whether your child is, a teenager or, a newborn, whatever in between.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I like how you talk about the rawness as far as like the ups and downs, of your experience with mental health as far as motherhood and business. Because the thing is with social media is that it gives the glitz and glamour. It doesn't give the rawness as far as like behind the scenes.
Right.
And so I think the rawness is very, very important.
Mhm.
And I like how with our generation, especially with my generation, is that people are being more open about mental health and the importance of being heard and being listened to.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I definitely believe, and I'm a big advocate for mental health. I'm not a mother personally.
Mhm.
I'm not a parent at all, but the thing is that I do believe in mental health, and mental health is very, very important. And that's how you maintain. When you maintain the best of your ability with your mental health, it helps you maintain your work ethic, helps you maintain to live life. So definitely, having mental health talks is very, very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. I want to get into as far as the future. So where do you see yourself out of 10 years from now?
Oh, I have not had this question in about 20 years. um, because when I think back to 10 years ago, if somebody who would have asked me that, I was 27, and I will take this as a reflection question, because 10 years ago, I did not see me anywhere near where I am right now, to be honest.
Hmm.
I was still working for someone else. I was sad. I was still epileptic, which I'm not anymore, which I had no idea that I would even get, cure myself of that, which is,
Hmm.
wild in itself. So, 10 years ago, like, 27-year-old Shaquita would not have seen 37-year-old Shaquita as this person, completely healed and, happy and full of joy. And, so I guess I would say for the next 10 years, it's just me like um just gaining wisdom more than anything,
Mhm.
teaching my children how to move through this life. In 10 years, my son will be 17. That's Jesus Christ, I'm putting that into perspective right now. Yes, in 10 years, my son will be 17, and I wish to be in a space where I could give my son the opportunity to either go to college or start a business. I would like to be that financially secure to where I can invest in him as a person,
Mhm.
and and give him, I guess, both of my children more opportunities than I had. When I was that age, it was always, let's go on these college tours. It was not an option. You are going to college because you're the first one to go. This is what we want for the family, not about what I wanted. It was about, what the family needed, and we needed a college graduate, so you're going. um, I want my
Mhm.
children to have the option because, to be honest with you, I learned a lot in college. But if I would have had the opportunity, I would have started my brand right out. I would not have gone to college. And even still, even if my children do choose that, I want to be able to provide that for them, so that they don't have the debt of, student loans like waiting for them when they graduate. I just want to
Mhm.
set them up a little bit differently than I had, so they're not digging themselves out of a hole, and they have a very fresh start when they go out into the world. So that's what I wish for me 10 years from now, just being
Mhm.
more wise, and being more prepared for my children to go out into the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Last but not least, where can people find you on social media? How can people support you and your streetwear brand and organization?
Oh, sure. So, my personal page is the THEE Modern Housewife NY, and my brand is art with two A's, AART_NYC. And you can also find me at artnyc.com.
Yeah, it's really, really awesome. Well, thank you so much, Shaquita, for jumping onto the show. I love your personal style.
Thank
I
you.
love the iconic hats, with the
Thank you.
cool, shapes and stuff. And I just like how, you have such a uniqueness about you. The big glasses, you play with color and texture and, with pattern. So it's really, really cool to speak to. And I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yes, absolutely. Take care.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bells for notifications. Also, follow me on social media platforms and be on the lookout for more interviews involving fashion, style, and fashion history. Take care and stay stylish. Bye bye.